is, you know.
Hi there, Hemi.
Hey, Roy.
You're here in Kyoto, Japan. We're just going to talk about a few housekeeping matters, such as how to get around Japan and communications. So if I come to Japan, I'm going to be wondering about what to do with my phone, because I don't really want to ring up, be texting people locally and routing through an overseas country. How should I approach that one?
Well, there's a couple of big phone companies in Japan, several, but the big ones is one called Docomo and the other one is SoftBank. And they have cell phone plans that are very, very affordable. For example, all of my children have cell phones through SoftBank or Docomo, and it costs you $15–20 a month. If you bring your cell phone from overseas and make a local phone call here in Japan, it's routed via the provider overseas, and it's very, very expensive. So by all means bring your cell phone, but once you get here, if you do plan to stay on long time, drop by either one of those stores. Again, it's SoftBank or Docomo, and providing you have your passport or appropriate ID, they can hook you up with an account fairly quickly.
Okay, and do I have to buy a phone, or?
Phones are free, as long as you commit to a minimum 1-year plan.
Okay.
And of course, if you want a funky phone or something that's fairly late model, you're going to pay for it. But if you're just looking for a cell phone that's going to do the job, then most times they'll provide that at no charge.
Okay. What if I'm not sure if I'm going to be here a year, maybe 6 months? Can I get a prepaid phone or second-hand phone, a SIM card?
If you default within, before 12 months, there might be a small fee to pay, but I wouldn't worry about it. It wouldn't be too much.
Okay. All right. Oh, it's good. Thanks. And generally speaking, if I was to get into an apartment here, there'll be an internet connection there organised, or do I have to sort that out myself?
Apartments have, this is kind of unique to Japan, they have what's called key money, and they also have bond money, and that's how the landlord who found the apartment for you gets paid, and the bond obviously to make sure that the apartment's in good condition when you leave. Bank on not getting the bond back, you won't get it back. I've been in 20 apartments in, well, not true, but 10 apartments in 15 years, and you never get the bond back for any reason. It's normally 1 or 2 months rent minimum. Internet connections, absolutely. The whole country is pretty much wireless now as well. So if you're in it's more than likely if you've got a modern apartment or one that's recently been built in the last 5 or 8 years, it will have internet access available.
Okay, all right, that's good to know. Do I sign up? Do I still have to sign up with an internet provider?
This is worth mentioning. I talked about cell phones before. Through the same company that you get your cell phone, you can also get a wireless modem. And if you're running off a laptop, it's brilliant, because if you are teaching up here, you'll find you're on the run the whole time, on the road the whole time. And the wireless modems here, for about $50, you get unlimited use anywhere in Japan through the modem system.
Okay.
And you can be on the trains, you can be in taxis, you can be at work, you can be at a break, you can be in a hotel or whatever, and you don't have to rely at all on whether or not there is internet access, because you have a mobile modem.
Okay.
And $50 a month gives you unlimited use.
Right, and they might package that with a home
Absolutely.
access.
Absolutely.
Oh, that's great. Okay, so now let's just talk about...
Can I just say something about computers?
Yes.
If you're coming over here to buy a computer, don't. Because all the computer's instructions are in Japanese. And so if you're coming over here and you intend on, if you feel you will need a computer, bring one with you. The instruction booklets, the guides in the computer itself, because they're being sold in Japan, it's all in Japanese.
Yep.
And yes, there are a few stores within Japan that you can find English notebooks, computers, etc., but they're not cheap. So my recommendation is if you're intending to use a computer here, bring it with you.
Okay, that's a good point. Okay. So for transport, the rail system's pretty extensive here. What do we do there in terms of cards and so forth? And
cool. There's if you plan on doing long-term travel here, then the guys at Teach International will talk to you about the JR Rail passes, which is a must-have if you plan to do some long-distance traveling. But just for daily commuting, back and forth, there's these cards you can get in Japan called Ikoka cards, and those Ikoka cards enable you to board any train And it's like a little credit card actually. You put $10, $20, up to $200 actually, and then you just walk through the ticket gates, and it digitally reads your card and tells and debits the amount of that trip. And it's a very, very efficient way, and there are 3 train systems in Japan: JR, Hankyu, and another one, and I can't remember what it is right now, but the cards allow you to board any of those trains,
Okay.
and it's very, very efficient.
Okay, and I can just purchase one of those at any train station?
Any train station. Yeah, you need to fill out your address, give them a phone number, and you'll be able to purchase one of those cards. I think the cards are $5, and yeah, they're brilliant.
Okay, that's good. And so, okay, so if I get out of a train station,
Yep.
and I've still got to get somewhere, and I'm looking at a taxi, how do I go about that?
Taxis drivers won't speak English, and there's a couple of good things and a couple of bad things. Number one is they won't rip you off either. They'll take you to your destination in the most direct route. I've been here a long time, and I think I've found one English-speaking taxi driver the whole time. So a really good thing is have a business card to where you're going. If you're staying at a hotel or if you've got an apartment, just take a reference to that apartment building, maybe a brochure of some description, and if you don't, then note the nearest train station to where you're staying or where you're going, because they'll all know where that is, and then from there you can either give them instructions by, gestures is a really good way, or walk the remainder of the distance. But there's taxis everywhere here, everywhere, and but like I said before, very, very few, bank on none, will speak English.
Okay, it's excellent. And is there anything else do you think that's useful to know? What about if I want to do any driving here, perhaps?
International driver's license in New Zealand, and I'm sure Australia as well, will qualify you to drive here for 1 year. Those are very, very easy to obtain, and in New Zealand, I don't know about Australia, but in New Zealand it's like $10, $12, you've got a license.
Yes.
Bring it over with you, and they're recognised here if you want to rent a car, or if you want to drive over here, you need to have one of those. One thing I'll warn you now is that they are very, very strict on people driving under the influence of alcohol. They don't have a breathalyzer here. They rely on the testimony of the police officer, and they'll say, breathe on me, and they'll ask you to breathe on. And if he smells alcohol on your breath, you're in some serious trouble here. So I'll tell you right now, do not drink and drive in Japan. Immediately you'll be a $10,000 fine, and there will be an imprisonment that will go with it as well. So just be careful of that, and yeah, catch the train, go home on the train.
So if I was working out in a regional area somewhere, and I thought I'd like to get a car, or a bicycle or motorbike or something like that, is it an expensive thing to do here?
Bicycles, I see men with 3-piece suits on riding to the train station every morning. Bicycles, $50 will buy you a used one, $100 will buy you a new one, and everyone rides bicycles here. You don't really need a car, to be honest. If you do, it's so seldom. They just rent one when you need one. Other than that, buy a bicycle. There's places where you can park them, jump the train. I think you'll find once you get here and once you spend some time here, that's some really good advice. You don't need a car here.
Okay, thank you very much, Henry. That's very helpful.
Good to have you.
Thank you.
Mate.